back with another one.
Alright guys, this is JOATD back with a new video. Here in front of you is my 2006 Dodge Ram 1500 two-wheel drive. Alright, and today what we're going to do is we're going to be putting on a rough country 6-inch lift kit. I'm excited. Alright guys, so this right here is everything that comes in the kit. See that? We got the spindles here, shock absorbers here. I mean, everything. The spacers. These are for the brakes. Bolts. Let's see. Tie rods. That's everything. Okay. Down in the bottom right here, you got the cross members. Spacers for the back. Now, to get the truck off the ground as high as I could get it, I put 4 pieces of 2x4 together on the jack to be able to jack the truck up high enough. All right. You can look under the bottom right here and see how high I had to get the truck off the ground. Hopefully that's high enough. If not, we'll jack it up a little higher. I already have 35 by 12.5 by 20 tires on here. They're already on it. I was having a problem turning. I mean, it wasn't bad, but you can see that it did scrape it a little bit, not that much. Only when I turn left. So what we're gonna do is start by taking the front tires off, and we'll get into it. All right, so let's take off the center cap. All right, so we're gonna remove the tire. All right, so we're gonna remove the right side tire. All right, let's remove the tire. All right, so what we're gonna do next is remove the caliper, okay? The whole assembly, so the bracket and the actual caliper itself. If you look behind here, you have 2 bolts. You have one right here, and then you have one right here, the 13/16. We're gonna remove those first. Alright, so the next thing you're going to do is hang this to the frame of the truck. Make sure you don't put any pressure on this line here. To remove the rotor. The next thing we're going to do is remove the hub. To remove it, if you look back here in the back, you have 1, 2, and then 3, those bolts. Those are the bolts to remove it. See that? They're 18 millimeter. So we're going to remove that now. Alright guys, so once you get the 3 bolts out, twist one back in, that one at the top. See, I put one back in right here. Put that one back in to hold this on, because you need to remove this sensor, this wire right here. Okay, so all the way down, you can just pull this wire out up here. Just like that. See, I got that loose. All right, then we have one more right there. You have to do the exact same thing to pop this one loose. And then up here, we're gonna push this Christmas tree out just like this. Just like that. So the Christmas tree's out, and I'm gonna take this loose. Give me a second. All right, so we got the wire all loose, and then right here, I'm gonna pull this down a little bit, and you see that red clip right there? You're gonna push up on that clip. See that? And then when you push up on the clip, all you have to do is push down on this right here and pull the whole thing loose. All right, now you can take that bolt out. All right. This is all the screw. Pull this whole thing off. This right here is the hub. This is where you're gonna put your new hub on it. All right. Remember, when you put the hub, the new hub back on, the sensor needs to be facing this little divot right here. It's a divot right here. Okay. All right, guys. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna loosen up the tie rod end, which is this right here. Under the bottom, it's a let's see, it's a 21 millimeter. I'm just gonna loosen that up. All right. At the top of the spindle for the knuckle, right up under the upper control arm, we got this little Carter pin. We're gonna pull this pin out. All right, we got that Carter pin out. All right, so we're gonna take this 21 millimeter nut off right here. Now, we're not gonna take it all the way off, we're just gonna loosen it up. All right, let's go down to the bottom. All right, so we're gonna take this Carter pin out. This is the lower control arm ball joint. Just gotta take this pin out here. Let's see. Go. And then we have to take this bottom castle nut off. All right, so this bottom castle nut is 1 1/16. Remember, we're not going to take it all the way off. All right, so now I'm gonna take this sledgehammer and I'm gonna knock loose this tie rod in. I'm also gonna hit down here at the bottom, lower control arm ball joint. And I think the top one is loose, but we're gonna hit it too just to make sure. And it's just gonna knock it loose. All right, so the bottom is loose, top's loose. All we gotta do is make sure we get this tie rod in loose. There we go. All right, so now that's loose. The bottom one's loose. We're gonna go ahead and take this tie rod out. Just take the bolt off. pull this out, set that off to the side. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take this top castle nut off right here. It's a 21 millimeter. So this is loose. Move this out the way. And then all we have to do is take the bottom one off, which is the 1 1/16. And there we go. So we got the spindle off. Alright, so what we're going to do is I'm going to change the ball joints top and bottom. We're going to change the top upper control arm ball joint first. So you're going to need some snap ring pliers, just like this. It's a snap ring right here under the bottom. Just like this. Squeeze it. Take it off. Okay. The reason why we're taking the snap ring off is because you got to push this ball joint up and out, okay? So before you push this out, after you take off the snap ring, you're gonna take loose this grease fitting at the top up here. I'll show it to you. It's a 8 millimeter. Just turn it. Just like that. It's just a little grease fitting. Okay, you gotta take that off. Now, after you take the snap ring off of the ball joint, we're gonna go over to the right side right here, and it's an 18 millimeter. We're gonna take this bolt out on both sides. 18. We're gonna take it out because what it's gonna do is it's gonna let this drop down so that we'll have more room to press this out. We gotta take it off anyway, so it doesn't matter. All right. Go. All right, so on this side I had to use a breaker bar right here just to break it loose. I got my battery operated drive on it. It's an 18 mil, and we're gonna take it loose. Let's see. All right. So now that it's loose, you see how far it dropped down? Now we can press this out. Got the small one on top. On the bottom. .7/18 socket on top. All right, should be loose. Let's see. Gonna squeeze that grease out, but let's see if it took it out though. Yes, it did. Let's see. There we go. And there we go. It's out. Now we got to put the new one in. Now I'm just going to clean it up a little bit with this wire brush. Slides in just like this. like that. And then let's set it up to press this one. It's right here on the bottom. This one on the bottom. Just like that. Put this right over top. Just like this. Straighten it up a little bit. All right, there we go. Hold up, let's loosen it. There we go. Okay, there we go. Turn it this way. And then we're going to go ahead and tighten it down. Just tighten it up. There we go. Now we're going to loosen it up. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and take the upper control arm off. Just push the little bolt out. That's already loose. We already took it loose. That's one. Then there's one back here in the back. Whew. There we go. So we got that out. Second bolt. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and remove this lower control arm ball joint. We have to take the snap ring off. Just like that. After that, we need to take the grease fitting off. Okay, since the snap ring was on the top, that means that this one has to be pushed down. All right, so we're going to push it out. There you go. Just like that. Alright, so here's the old one. So let's put the bottom ball joint back in, the lower control arm ball joint. We're going to get this one, put the ball joint in it, make sure it's clearing the boot. It's going over top of the boot. Put it on the bottom right here. Take this one with the cap, sit it right over top of it. Just like that. And then we're gonna run it down. And that should be it right there. Let's see. No, just a little bit more. Still has a little gap. Let's see. Make sure you check all the way around, just to make sure it's butted up against all the way, and it's good. All right, so let's loosen it up. Like that. There it is, all the way through. Just gonna stick it in like this. And I'll start at the back first, and then bring it all the way around. Now, it's not down right here, just push it. There you go. So it's all the way around it. That lets you know that this is pulled all the way through. If that snap ring goes all the way around, it's pulled all the way through. We'll go ahead and put the grease fitting on it, even though I'm taking this off, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it on. I have a pair of pliers and I'm just gonna turn it on. Just don't damage it. Just like that. And there we go. So I replaced the upper control arm ball joint and the lower control arm ball joint. Alright guys, so once you get the upper control arm off and you have the ball joint in, make sure that you put the grease fitting in. It's a 7mm for me. And then once you have the grease fitting in, go on the back and make sure you put the snap ring on. Okay, that snap ring needs to go on there. That stops it from coming out. You just use a pair of snap ring pliers. The next thing we're going to do is remove this sway bar link right here. The top right here is a 16, and what I'm going to do is use a 15 wrench right here to hold it while I turn it and take it loose. Just like that. Take this bar off. As you can see, I have a jack supporting the bottom control arm, okay? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take loose this bottom strut right here, okay? It's 13mm, one here, one here. So we're gonna take that loose. Alright, now I took the bottom loose, but as you can see, this strut is still holding this lower control arm. See, because it has this metal right here. It's still holding it. All right. So I want you to know, I want you to do this the safest way possible. Okay, so I got the jack supporting it. I took the bolts loose at the bottom, because when you take the one loose at the top, this lower control arm is going to drop because the spring is still compressed. You understand? All right. All right, so we're going to take this top screw out. It's a 18 millimeter. This is the top of the strut, all right? And there you go. And that's because the jack is supporting everything, and we're gonna let the jack down slowly. So we got this out. Here's that 18 millimeter nut. See what I mean? That's the reason why you need the jack. All right, guys, so the next thing you're gonna do is we're gonna remove these bolts from the lower control arm. This bolt right here, and the other is right there, right behind the brake caliper. Okay. The bolt sizes are 15/16, and you're gonna loosen it from this side, and then loosen the other one from this side. Now, as soon as you loosen those and you start pulling out the bolts and everything, this right here is gonna fall out. So just be careful. Alright, so we got the one bolt off. And this whole thing is gonna fall down some more as soon as we take this one loose, and it's just gonna fall. See what I mean? So that's just gonna fall out. All right, so to stop it from spinning, I had to put this adjustable wrench on this side, and now we're gonna just take it loose. And there we go. And that's the other one. So you're gonna pull this off. That's from the other side, and then pull the one off in here. Just like that. And then you can just push the bolt all the way out. Alright, so now that you have the lower control arm off, right here you can remove the sway bar link. It's a 17 millimeter. There you go. So let's see, here it is right here. Alright, so we got this out. And bolt. Alright, so now we're going to take this and zip tie it to this hole right here, just to get it out of the way. Just like that. Alright guys, so just to let you see how everything looks, everything's gone. Let's go on the other side, and everything's gone on the passenger side also. Now, I didn't record the passenger side because whatever you do on the driver's side, you're gonna do the same thing on the passenger side. All right, see how everything's gone? All right guys, so you want the first cross member to go right here, you want the one that has the actual logo on the front. Okay, so you can see this one right here has the logo on the front of it right here, RC. All right, and you want the dip to be coming forward towards the front of the truck. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna line it up from the inside. Let's see. Just like that. Make sure you get the hardware that came with the truck. That goes in the top one. The old hardware goes in the bottom. All right, so get you one of the long bolts, put the square on the end of it, line it up with the hole. Just like that. Push it all the way in. Get another one with a square on it. Put it in the top. Like that. That's how you put the first one on. Now remember, on the back side, there's another square area on the back side, and you're gonna put the square on, and then you're gonna put the square on, and then you're gonna put the actual nut on the back. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and put the back one on, and like I said again, it's the same way. The slanted, you want the slanted part right here, to come towards the front of the truck. So we're gonna put the back one on too. All right, we got both of them on. And what I'm gonna do is go ahead and put the square on the back side, back here. Put the nut on. Same way. Back here, put the nut on. Same for the one in the back. Okay, so we got both cross members on, and let's keep going. All right, guys, so the next thing we're going to do is install the coil spacers. As you can see, it has an arrow right here. That arrow needs to be pointing to the front, but closest to the body of the car, okay? And the flat side goes up in here, not like that. The flat side does, okay? So you can see the arrow needs to be just like that. See? And now that you got it centered where you got the holes at, you need to mark it. One here, one in there, and then one on this back side back here. You need to mark those because we're gonna have to drill. That arrow right there, needs to be inside, closest to the body of the car and facing towards the front of the bumper. All right. All right, guys, as you can see, I've already drilled all 3 holes. The hole size is 7/16, and I just started out with a smaller bit and then worked my way up to the 7/16. That little metal piece up there, you can see how that's how it goes. It goes between this area right here. The double side goes towards the body of the car, and then the single one is gonna go right here. All right, so this other one right here is gonna go in here also, just like that, and up. And then you gotta line it up with the hole right there, just like that. It's hard for me to hold it. See if I can grab it from the top. But it's gonna basically be like that. I'll show you with it out how it looks. All right, guys. So now that we have the 3 holes drilled, you have these two brackets. You have this one, and then you have the single one, right? You got a double and a single, right? In the gap area where you drilled the holes, these are gonna sit in between, okay? So it's gonna be like this. You're gonna line these up with the holes. Closest to the arrow and the body of the car, the double one goes, right? Just like that. And then the single one goes on the opposite side like this. That's how it's gonna sit. That's how you're gonna bolt this to the car, through these. And then these little arms up here are to make it so that you can hold it from the top, hold it steady so that you can actually run the screw through it. That's what these are for, is to hold it so that you can screw the screw through it. All right, let's go under the car. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. All right, so you can see right here, I have the holes drilled, and I have the screws inside here. So you got to stick them in here. Like I said, the one with the 2 screws on it goes towards the body of the car, or the frame. The single goes out towards the tire. Okay, now you're gonna hold those in the spot. Then you're gonna take your spacer. Let's see. You're gonna take your spacer and put your spacer with the arrow pointing towards the front of the car and closest to the body, right? You're gonna put it just like this, and then when you get it sitting right, you see how, let's see if you can see those screw holes. See how you can see the screw holes? So you gotta hold that in place and then run the screws up in it. All right, I'm gonna show you from the top how it looks. So you can see from the top, you have to hold these from up here. That's what the little arms are for, to be able to hold it so that you can hold it in the spot and run the screws through. So I'm gonna have to do this off camera because I only have one hand free with the camera. So I'm gonna put it up in there and then I'm gonna show you what it looks like. Oh yeah. Let's see. So these are the 3 screws that you need to use. All right. All right, guys, so I just got this in. This is very hard to get in. What you have to do is, once you drill the holes and you get that double bracket, see it in there? Put the double bracket in by itself, okay? Because you can put the single one in from the top. But to get those screws to go in, you're gonna take your long extension and you're gonna go through this hole. I would use a 1/4 inch. See that? I use a 1/4 inch. So go through the hole first, then put the socket on it. Then screw it in. It's still gonna be difficult, but you can do it. It's easier to do it like that. That's what those holes are for. See this one? It's lined up. See? With that hole. See that screw up there? Do the same thing. Stick the extension in, put the socket on, and then have somebody hold the little, I don't know what that's called. I guess it's like a little flange or something like that. Have somebody hold that up at the top and try to line it up as best you can, and then get the 2 bolts in. As long as they in there, it can be loose. You just need it to be in. Now, you still got that one to do, right? So, see, I have the double one in there, right? You need to do the single too. But what you do is, you do the single last. You stick the single in just like this. Just lean it to the side. Hold up. Just like that. See that? It's in there. And then have somebody hold it. Line it up. Run the screw in. Okay? So you don't have to have both of them in there at the same time. You can put the single one in by itself after you get that one lined up. Alright? So let's get it tightened. Alright, so we got it in. You look from the side, you got 2 of them. That's the top, and that's the bottom. So we got those 2 in. And if you go around here to the back, the other one's in too. And if you look as close as you can up there, you'll see that the arrow, it's hard to see, but the arrow is pointing towards the front bumper, but it's closest to the frame of the vehicle. So this one's on. I'm gonna see if I can find some torque specs for it so it'll be tight enough. Alright guys, so those bolts up there, I torqued them off, and I started at 65. It felt like it was gonna strip. I went to 60, and then I just kept working my way down until it clicked off without feeling like it was gonna strip. So I clicked it off to 45 foot-pounds. Alright. You guys can torque it off to what you want. It doesn't actually tell you what to do. So I wanted to torque mine off. I did 45 foot-pounds. We're gonna put the extended bump stop on, the bracket for it, but we got to take out this old bump stop. So we're gonna go in real deep and pull it out. There we go. See that? Just knock it out. Just like that. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is get a short and a long screw. Alright, the long one goes here, the short one goes back there. Put the long one there with the washer on it, and put the short one back here. Alright, so we got both of them in, right? This right here is gonna go like this, just like that. You need to put this in first, okay? I'm gonna show you where that goes. It goes right there. See that? A lot of people are putting the bracket on but not putting that little spacer in there. You're supposed to put that spacer in there and then run the screw right here all the way through, just like that, but from the top right there. Okay, so I had to take this loose to put this in here. You have to remember to put that in there, okay? And then all you got to do is take the bump stop and stick it in right there and put the bolt, put a washer on, and then put the 15 millimeter nut on. That's 15 millimeter too. See if we can get this in here. Alright guys, so what we're gonna do is install the upper control arm. got the upper control arm on. And we got the bolts. These little fins right here make it so that when you're tightening it down, it stops it from spinning. It'll hit up against the body of the car or the frame, and it won't spin. Like that. We got one over here. Alright guys, so I got my long extended drive with a stubby socket on it. It's an 18. I'm gonna run these down. I'm not gonna tighten it all the way. I'm gonna loosen it just a little bit. Then we're gonna go on the other side over here. Alright guys, so we're going to put this lower control arm on, slide it back up in here. Just like that. Now, the old hardware goes on the bottom. All right, so we're gonna put this on just like that. So we're gonna put the other side on too. So the next thing you want to do is put your spring in. Now, you got this little rubber piece, and you can see in here where the actual spring stops. So you just twist the spring until it stops in this centerpiece here. And the same thing down here on the lower control arm. It has a resting spot where you turn it until it touches that. So we're going to put this rubber piece on first. Like that. And we're going to slide this up under here like that. Let's see, we're going to grab this at the bottom right here. Alright guys, I want you to see how I'm getting this spring, this coil spring, in between the spacer and the lower control arm. This is very dangerous. I put a chain to it just in case it popped out. I wouldn't suggest doing it this way, but I'm just showing you guys what I had to do to get this spring compressed. Alright, so we got it up as high as it'll go without lifting off the jack stands in the back. And we're going to go ahead and put the spindle on. I already took the bolt off the lower control arm ball joint. put it on. And put the screw on. Right here. We got the whole thing on. You can see I put the spring in first by hand. I put a chain to it because just in case. I put the jack. I lifted up the lower control arm by hand and then had somebody push the jack up under it, and then I jacked it up slowly. Once I started to see it come off of the actual jack stand back there a little bit, I stopped. Because that lets you know that that was enough. So it's off the jack stand just a little bit. You can see that little bit of light. All right, and I already got it pushed on, and then we're gonna go ahead and bolt it up. All right, so I'm gonna tighten this upper ball joint. We got that one tight. All right, so now I'm going to tighten the bottom ball joint castle nut. It's a 15/16. All I'm doing right now is turning the castle nut so I can get the quarter pin in it. That should be good enough. All right, so if you look up under there, you see how I line that hole up with the castle nut? That's what I'm talking about. A quarter pin has to go through there. Same with this top one. We're gonna tighten it until it turns so that we can see that castle nut hole, so that we can stick the quarter pin through it. All right, so now we just gotta put this tie rod into the spindle. Alright, so we got that in there, and then we're going to put the nut back on. And then we're going to tighten that up. Alright, so this tie rod is a 21 millimeter. We're going to tighten it down. Just like that. We got that one on. Now we're going to do the brake line. You got to get the one that says, let's see, D right here. The other one has a P for passenger. This one has a D for driver. I'm on the driver's side. Make sure you get you a drip pan. All right, so the bolt on the back right here is a 15. We're going to take that loose first. So we got that loose, it's dripping. You gotta take it loose from the back here. You're gonna have to use a wrench for that. It's a 13, just loosen that. But we need to take this off too. So the part holding the bracket on is a 13. put this loose, and then we're gonna take that loose. I suggest you take this back part loose first before you take the bracket loose, because now it's turning. So yeah, we're gonna have to put the bolt back in to stop the bracket from turning. All right, so let's take it loose. In here. All right guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and put some grease in the ball joints, top and bottom. All right, so we're gonna put grease in the bottom one also. It's right in here, sitting on top. Just gonna slide it in right here. Just gonna clean the grease off the fittings. All right guys, so we're gonna put the hub on. This little indentation right here, that's where your sensor goes. So make sure that the sensor that's on your hub is facing this way. So you have your hub and then you have the sensor, right? So it's gonna go like this. Okay, that has to be right there. And your dust shield is gonna be like that, just like that. All right, it has to match up with that little cutout right there. Like that, and then go ahead and put your other two bolts in through the back, same way you took them out. All right, so let's tighten down. All right guys, now that we have the hub on, we're gonna go ahead and put the rotor on. Just like that. It's going to be a 21 millimeter socket. All right, so we got the brake caliper on and the rotor. All right, so don't forget to take this clip off to put on the new spindle. This came off the old one. Put this on the new spindle and then just knock it down with a hammer. All right, so let's tighten it down. Just like that. All right, guys, so this right here is the front shock. All right, this goes up in the actual spring right there. Okay, now to assemble this, before you put this in the spring, you got this metal, it's two of these, but they're the same. You face it cup up like this. So you can see the little divot in it, the cup is up. Then after that, you put this rubber bushing that has the raised lip, like that. Then you take this whole thing and you put it inside the spring. Once you push it all the way through the spring, on top, you're gonna put this one. See how it has like a little area where this little part actually goes into it? This goes on top, like that. Then you're gonna put the other metal one cup down, like that, and then you're gonna put the screw on it. All right, so we're gonna put this in. All right, guys, so what we're gonna do is put the strut inside the coil. From the top part up here, I'm touching to see if I can feel that rubber go through the hole, and it is. Then I'm going to take my original 13 millimeter screws and put them through the bottom. Now here's a view from the bottom, just to let you see what I'm doing. So as you can see, the strut is up in there, and we're gonna put the rubber bushing on at the top and the cup and then nut. All right, so as you can see, it's all the way through. You see it right here? It's all the way through, and then right here is the little piece of rubber that's sticking through the spacer, okay? And what you're gonna do is gonna put, let's see, I don't have to figure out how this is gonna go in there, but you're gonna put this in. Remember, this part down, put it in there, and then we'll pick it up and put it on top. Give me 1 second. See, we got that rubber bushing on there, and then the next thing is gonna be this cup down like this, and we're gonna slide that on top. But I'm gonna have to use 2 hands, but it goes down and then the nut goes on. All right, guys, so this is what I mean when I say you need the right tool for the right job. All right, this bad boy is gonna go all the way up in here and tighten this down. All I have to do is just bend the head down, go all the way up in here, put it right over top of it, just like that, and tighten it down. That bad boy's down. Alright guys, so next what we're gonna do is take off the sway bar right here. I'm gonna take this off. So you're gonna need a 15mm socket to take this off, and you have 4 screws, 1, 2, and then 2 back here. All right, we bought new sway bar bushings, these right here, because the ones in here are old. So we got that one off. Let's see. That's how the bolt looks. This thing's pretty heavy, so make sure you're holding it tight. And take off this last one. Alright, got that off. Okay, so now we got the ones, the extended brackets that came in the kit. They look like this. There's 2 of them. The open side goes towards the inner part of the truck, so it doesn't go, you know, out. It goes in like this. And the part with the cutouts, so you got whole circles and then you got cutout circles, they go towards the actual car or the frame, right? So we put one of the factory screws back in, and then we can just hang it. See that? And then we got to put the other one in. Just like that. And then we do the same thing on the other side. Like I said, the open side is in the faces the inner part of the car, and the cutouts, they go against the car. So screw one in and just hang it up there, and put the other screw in. like that. All right, so let's see. We're gonna need 15 ratchet. All right, do the same thing to the top one. Tighten it up. Same thing with this one. Just like that. And work the other side. Right there. Same with the top one. There we go. Okay, so what we're gonna do is replace these bushings in here. They're old and worn and brittle. This one right here too. I'm gonna take those out, put the new ones in. I think these are 31 millimeters in inside. I think if you need these, you have to measure this bar. I think mine was 31 millimeters, if I'm correct. All right, so what we're gonna do is pick this up. And try our best to hold this and get it bolted to this thing. It's gonna be seriously hard. I'm gonna start with this side first. Come down some. So we got it on, and I'm just gonna tighten it down. All right, guys, so we got the sway bar in, as you can see right there. So the sway bar is in, and we got the sway bar links connected also. They're not tight, but they are connected. When you put these sway bar links in, make sure that the bend is going towards the inner side of the vehicle. So you want the bend to go inside, not outside. Inside, and the screw that doesn't have the, well, let's just say the shorter screw goes in the top, and the longer one goes in the bottom. So the longer one with the smooth sides on it goes through on the bottom, just like that. Okay, same with the other side. It needs to bend inwards. Okay, now I did change a little bit of things. The brake line was kind of like twisted. I figured that the brake line is supposed to go down like this, not up. It's supposed to go down. And here you're supposed to drill a new hole, because the old hole is kind of over some. I drilled a new hole. I slid this over to make it so that the line wasn't twisted. It's not twisted now. And I moved this over, put a new bolt through onto the other side. All right, so that is not straight down like it was. I changed it so that the line wouldn't be twisted. The line was twisted. Okay, let's go to the other side. All right, so now we're on the passenger side. I did the same thing with the brake line. The bracket, I drilled a new hole through this, put a new bolt in it. You see that it's not twisted. It was twisted before, and it goes down, not up. Okay, so we got everything in. You can see that the strut is in. The strut is actually tight. You can see some of the screw. Let me see if I can focus on that. You can see it in there. It's tight. Got the rubber bushing on it, and the one up under the bottom, if you can see it. The only thing that I have left to do is to tighten everything. Basically, I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna tighten everything. I gotta tighten the upper control arms. I gotta tighten the lower control arms. I also need to tighten the cross member at the top. See, it's loose. And at the bottom. But the bottom one is for the lower control arm. I also have to do it on this side. And I put a new hub on this side too. It was making a lot of noise, so I changed it out. So I got 2 new hubs and new ball joints. One here, and then the one that's like down here at the bottom or whatever. So technically I'm done. All I have to do is tighten everything up, and we can move on to the back. All right, guys, so it's time to do the blocks for the leaf springs. Right here, we're gonna have to take loose the U-bolts, and I'm gonna show you how to jack it up and get those U-bolts off. All right, guys, so the first thing you want to do is put a jack underneath the rear differential right here. So I got this jack up under here. All right, guys, so the first thing you need to do is jack the vehicle up and put the differential on a jack stand, just like this. Okay, now as you can see, it's like a little gap between it. That's because I have the leaf spring jacked up right here. But as soon as I start to take the U-bolts loose, the diff is gonna drop into this jack stand right here. Okay, So I wanted to let y'all see how I got it set up. So I got the jack stand running right under the rear differential, and then I got a jack with some wood on it. It's right underneath the leaf spring. I'll show you from the top. All right, so as you can see, I got some wood and it's right underneath the leaf spring. So what it's gonna do is lift the leaf spring off the differential once I unscrew the U-bolts. All right. All right, so now you have this flat pot right here, and what you're gonna do is just take a pry bar, just lift up on it. You got these little clips right here. It's 2 of them. The other one's here. And you can just pull this off. All right. Now that you have everything loose, now what you're going to do is jack up the leaf spring. Let's get you up in here so you can see it actually separating. Alright, I'm gonna have to let it down because the jack is actually hitting the jack stand. Give me a sec. Alright, so we got everything off. We still have the jack under the leaf spring, and what we're gonna do is jack up the leaf spring to create that gap between the differential and the leaf spring. I'll start pumping it up now. right, let's get the block. All right, so this right here is the block. As you can see, it's slanted down to the right, okay? So if you look at this, it's slanted to the right. You want the slant to face or go towards the front of the truck, okay? And you have a pin down here and a hole on top. The pin is gonna go in that middle hole right there, okay? So basically you're just gonna slide it in. Just like that. Make sure it's straight. And then we're gonna let the jack down onto the leaf spring. All right, now we're gonna jack it up just a little bit. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna tap it so that the pin that's in this leaf spring will fall in the hole in the block. And there you go. So now it's down on top of the block and it's in the hole. Now we can let the jack all the way down. All right, so let's put one of the U bolts in. These are the new ones. As you can see, they're longer. So we're gonna lay this right there on top. And you're gonna go underneath the differential with this. Put you 2 washers on and put you some screws on or some nuts, just like that. Just hold that there. Go ahead and get the other one, and it goes on the back side. Put you a washer on here and a washer here and a bolt or a nut here. All right, let's tighten them up. I'm still looking for the nut that goes right there, but you guys get the point. That's basically how you put the block between the leaf spring and the rear differential, and how you jack it up, how you let it down. That's basically everything. Hopefully I got a good angle for you guys to see it, and I'm gonna have to hunt down this nut that's missing. All right guys, so after you get all of your bolts on, You're gonna put the push clip back on. Just kind of put it right there, and then let's see, get your drill, and then just push down on it. Just push down on it like this. Just like that. And then I'm gonna put a washer right there. Let's see. And we're gonna put the screw back on. Just like that. And tighten it up. Like that, and there you go. So that's on. We still have to find that one nut for here, but other than that, it's all put together. I thought this was it, but this is not it. It's blue. Those are white. It looks like it though. So I'm gonna keep looking for it. All right, guys. So this is the portion where you're gonna remove the strut. And it's right here. Look down here, I've already taken it loose down there. But the top, we have to take out 3, 1, 2, 3 8mm screws. Let's get it. Make sure you find all the screws. And then if you look right here, you can see the bolt and screw for the top of the strut. All right, so I'm using a 21mm socket on a 10-inch extension. So it's loose, and what we're gonna have to do is put a socket on the other side, or a wrench or something. Give me 1 second. All right, so on the back of that nut, it has like an arm that stops the nut from rotating. So as long as yours isn't broken, you can just turn this thing all the way off. And there you go. So we got that out. I'm gonna pull that out and pull this whole strut out. All right, so this is that arm that I was talking about that stops it from spinning. Okay, and here is the old strut, and here's the new one. And this part up here goes to the top. This goes to the bottom. If you look on it right here, it says top, which is up here. So let's get this seated or installed. All right, so we got it in. Got the new one in up there. You can see it right there, the new one's in. And we just gotta do the other side, and that's it. The block's in. The back is basically done. All right, guys, so this is how she looks. 2006 Dodge Ram 1500. She's up there. Looks nice. I love it. Let's see. Look at that gap. I love it. Yeah. She ready. Got a couple more things to do. Since I got her down on the ground, I'm going to bleed the brakes because they have air in them, and I'm going to tighten up the upper control arm and the lower control arm. I'll tighten up everything now that it's on the ground. Alright guys, this is JOATD, and I'm out.